Hello kiddos, today in our video we're going to talk about how the different languages came about on the earth. It's an interesting subject because you don't really think about it a lot of times, but you hear people talking in different languages from different areas of the world, and today we're going to talk about where and how that happened. We're going to be in Genesis chapter 11, and we're going to be talking about the Tower of Babel. This takes place after the flood, after Noah built the ark, and after the God flooded the whole earth. When the rain stopped and Noah reached dry ground, God told Noah and his family to spread out and multiply and inhabit the whole earth. And when we get to Genesis chapter 11, we're going to see the story of the Tower of Babel and this group of people who didn't spread out, who came together and who disobeyed God and who tried to build a way to get to heaven other than God. They tried to physically build a tower to get to heaven instead of relying on God. They disobeyed Him because they didn't trust in Him. They thought that their own the things that they built with their hands could get them to heaven. So I'm actually going to read in Genesis 11. It's verses 1 through 9, and then we'll discuss about it. It says, "Now the whole earth had one language and the same words." So that meant that everybody talked in the same language, no matter if you were from Africa or Mexico or whatever. Back then it was all one people, one group of people, and they all spoke one language after the flood. Verse 2 says, "And as people migrated from the east, they found a plain in the land of Shinar and settled there. And they said to one another," this is where they mess up, "Come, let us make bricks and burn them thoroughly." So they built it, they made bricks, and then they made mortar or cement to hold the bricks together. And then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower with its top in the heavens." So they came up with this plan that they were going to build this tower by themselves to reach heaven. "And let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be dispersed over the face of the whole earth. And the Lord came down," this is verse 5, "to see the city and the tower." So guess what? God was watching them the whole time do this. God's watching us right now. The same God that was there is the same God that's with us now. "And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of man had built. And the Lord said, Behold, they are one people, and they have all one language, and this is only the beginning of what they will do." So God knew that if He didn't step in and do something, He was saying that this is just the first of the many sins that they're going to commit against me. He knew that this wasn't going to be the last thing that they do to disobey God. So He said, and nothing that they propose to do will now be impossible for them. Verse 7, "Come, let us go down." See that in verse 7 we see let us go down, not just God. We see a reference to the Trinity there. Let us go down, and there confuse their language. So God had a plan. He said, I'm going to go down there, and I'm going to make it to where they don't understand each other. One's going to be talking in Spanish, one's going to be talking in English, one's going to be talking in Arabic. He just confused them greatly. It says, "So the Lord dispersed them from there over the face of all the earth, and they left off building the city." So once God came down and He confused them all by changing their language, they couldn't build anymore because one person couldn't say to the other, "I need a brick," or "I need some more cement." They couldn't talk to each other. They were confused. So they quit building the city and they left. And verse 9 says, "Therefore its name was called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of all the earth. And from there the Lord dispersed them over all the face of the earth." So we see that after the flood, God gave them Noah's direct order, his family to disperse, to spread out, to multiply. And then we see in chapter 11 this group of people that disobeys God, and they try to come together and build something with their own hands to get to God. And we know that there's no way that we can work hard enough, or there's no amount of money or anything like that we can physically or emotionally do to get to God other than ask God into our heart. It's a free gift, and it's nothing that we can't make a tower to get to God. We can't make a road long enough to get to God. We can't fly a spaceship and get to God. We can't do that. It's just not physically possible, and it's not supernaturally possible. The only supernatural way that we get to God is accepting Him into our heart, is believing that Christ died for us, and through Christ is the only way that we can get to God. So when you hear people talking in different languages, just know that it came from a direct sin from us, from our ancestors, that caused this language, all these different languages. And it's pretty neat because you don't ever think about it like that. And it's weird to kind of think that everybody used to speak one language and now there's hundreds of languages. But it was because God came down and He confused the people and made them dispersed from where they were at. And our Bible verse today comes out of Philippians, actually, Philippians 4:13. And it's a direct reference to what they should have done. Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And you got to understand that it's not through what we can do, but it's through Christ who strengthens us. We get our strength from Christ. Everything that's good comes from Christ and from God. And without Him, we can do nothing. But with Him, we can do everything.